All right, you're gonna get this nice thick slab here, and you're gonna get one of these littler slabs later. And you're gonna roll this out so that it is as long as this. Now when you roll, you wanna make sure that it's no thicker than a pencil. So we're actually gonna start off with markers and get it as thick as markers. So see how that's lined up with the markers? Nothing is going to get any thinner than those markers. So roll one and flip, and make sure you're doing this on this fabric so it doesn't stick to your table. Roll, and while you still can, go ahead and roll it a couple of times this way to make it fat enough. Roll and flip. We want this to be nice and long. Roll and flip. So I go back and forth and flip. And then when it's the thickness of the markers, then I'm going to use pencils. And I don't want it any thicker than the pencils now. And you're not going to get it in the first go, so don't try pushing down too hard. Let your roller do most of the work. And I went back and forth, and then I flip. Get a second set of pencils here so that I can roll it all the way out. When it doesn't get any longer, that's how you know you've rolled it out enough. All right. Now, clay shrinks by about 30%. So if we start off with 6 inches, by the time it gets done shrinking, we're going to end up with a little over 4 inches. Now I've got a nice straight edge here, but if you don't, what you can do is you can take your ruler and cut that to size. And I've got 6 inches all the way to about there. I'm going to go ahead and measure it. So I'm just going to take this slightly sharpened pencil. Your pencils do not need to be sharp. In fact, they shouldn't be too sharp. 6 inches there. Take my ruler, cut it nice and straight there. Now I've got all of this here, so let's see if I can wrap all the way around. All right, I'm going to be able to wrap all the way around, so I'm going to cut this off here. You need about 12 inches to wrap. So as long as you've got about 12 inches, 11.5 to 12 inches here, you're going to be okay. Cut this off. Then you're going to take one of these and you're going to wrap it in another piece of fabric. The way you do that is you have lots on the edge here. Roll it up, wrap it, push that right in there like that, push that right in there like that. Okay, then you're going to score both edges here just by making these marks. It's like hash marks here, and you do that over here too. Put glue, which is called slip. This is clay glue. It's very, very watered down glue. I actually put glue in a blender with water, blend it all together, puree it. And then you're also going to get, this is going to be my bottom edge, so I'm scoring the bottom edge, and I've got glue on the bottom here because I'm going to have to glue it to a base. We'll get to the base in just a second. See, I've got it lined up, the bottom of this tube with the bottom of what will become my coffee mug. And I'm going to take my fabric to help roll it. Not quite enough. See how that doesn't quite fit? I can actually take some of this and I can make a patch. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make a little patch here by scoring it. So if you mismeasured and you didn't quite get 12 inches, it's okay. Just glue a little patch here. Try that again. hold it with one hand. And I've got plenty of clay glue in here. I'm going to put that patch in there. And I can just smooth that out. Get that patch fit in there. Making sure that if I make a new cut, that I get plenty of slip and score in there. Just smooth that out. This is probably where I'm going to put my handle, since it's going to be a little bit uglier spot. Okay, so I've got this huge cylinder. You might end up with a big coffee mug, or you might end up with the right size coffee mug. See how it goes. Okay. Then you're going to get another slab of clay, and you're going to roll that one out, pencil size. Remember to roll and flip and rotate. Remember how you scored and slipped all of that? I'm going to lay this down and cut it out. That's going to peel off fairly easily because you haven't glued it on, because you haven't put any score marks on here. And some slip. You want to really make sure that this gets glued down really well, or your coffee or cocoa or tea or whatever you're going to put in here is going to leak out. Really make sure you get that glued on. Make sure that there isn't any fabric in there that's going to get in your way. I had some fabric that had looped up over there. Make sure that fabric is tucked in nicely. Lay that in. Use my fabric to help pick it up and smooth that out. If you need to get some more slip to smooth out some cracks that you might see or some gaps, do that now. Okay. Then you're going to make this cool by using some texture plates. I've got all kinds of texture plates, and they have a little bit of oil on them. I put a little baby oil on them so that they don't stick too much. And you're going to decorate this with texture plates by laying the texture plate in, and you can decide if you want to lay the whole thing in, part of it in, whatever you want. And you just push that in. And see how I'm supporting it with one hand and pushing it in with the other? And then you've got that great texture. I'm going to do kind of a quilted patchwork of textures, different textures. But if you want to take one of these bigger texture plates and wrap it all the way around, you can do that too. So you could do something where you take the whole thing and wrap it around and just kind of roll it on even. You're going to see that this is going to start gapping a little bit because you're actually making the clay a little thinner and a little bigger than it was originally. And see what happened when I pushed it on again? It sort of did an overlapping. Now, this is a great vase, but not a coffee mug. So then we need to take another piece of clay, and you're just going to squeeze it and make it a nice handle just by rolling it out like a snake, like you've done since preschool. You can do that on the table, that's fine. Some people like to put their handles like this. Don't do that, because what you do is you just have this one little point of connection. Instead, loop it around more like a question mark. This makes it a nice big handle. So if you have it like a question mark, and then pinch this flat, score it, score the points. Well, the texture actually is score marks, so you don't have to score the points of connection because you have that texture there already. And smash that on gently, not too hard. Just smooth that on in so you almost just don't even see it anymore. Giant coffee mug. Okay, then open this up and you can open up the fabric here carefully and carefully pull out the tube. Carefully pull out the fabric. And there it is. Just like that. Okay, so there's my coffee mug. Make sure you write your name and class code on a piece of paper in pencil, never marker, because the moisture from the clay will smear out the marker. So write your name in pencil, your class code, put your piece of paper in here. That way I can write your name on the bottom later.